What's up, NBA fanatics? We are back with another video discussing who really sits at the top of the charts as the greatest NBA player in the history of the sport. And while the answer to that question might stir a fair bit of controversy and might even result in us getting into some trouble with the names we don't pick out, we are ready to dive into it anyway. The debate around who really is the greatest NBA player has been raging on for as long as we can remember. And NBA fans have still not been able to narrow the debate down to just one single player, but rather a fair few. So, to make this process simpler for fans watching this video, here's what we are going to do. We are going to pick out some of the greatest basketball players to ever grace the NBA, and then let you, yes you, the fans decide who really is the greatest of them all. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it, shall we? So, the debate over who the greatest NBA player of all time is usually based on a few names, with two main contenders, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. But just picking out Jordan and James would be disrespectful to some of the other legends of the sport, who were nothing short of extraordinary. And who were these other big names? Let's find out. Wilt Chamberlain. If you are an NBA fan, you must know who Wilt Chamberlain was, because this guy was a game legend. Standing 7 feet 1 inch tall, he played center in the National Basketball Association for as many as 14 seasons. Talk about incredible longevity, right? Wilt Chamberlain is famous for having some of the most incredible and unbreakable records in NBA history that still stand strong today. His physical dominance, combined with his skill, resulted in some insane stats that still stand out even decades after his retirement. To know why he must be a part of the greatest NBA player debate, let's check out some of his best games and stats. Probably the most remarkable achievement and stats of Chamberlain's career would be his 100-point game on March 2nd, 1962, in a single game for the Philadelphia Warriors against the New York Knicks. This remains the highest scoring game by any player in NBA history to this day. And you know what makes this achievement even special? The fact that Chamberlain made 36 of 63 field goals and 28 of 32 free throws, which was particularly notable for one reason, that free throw shooting was often considered one of his weaknesses. In the 1961-62 season, Chamberlain averaged an astounding 50.4 points per game, a record that is unlikely to ever be broken. He scored over 50 points in 45 games that season, which happens to be another insane record and achievement to his name. Not only that, the American legend is the only player to score more than 4,000 points in a single season, as he went on to finish the 1961-62 season with 4,029 points, which is a feat that is yet to be overtaken by an NBA player. Apart from this, Chamberlain also holds the record for the most rebounds in a single game, getting 55 rebounds on November 24, 1960, against Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics. He went on to average an unbelievable 22.9 rebounds per game over his career, which is the highest in NBA history. And of course, the record for the all-time leader in total rebounds with 23,925 to his name also goes to Wilt Chamberlain. Kobe Bryant. We cannot go without mentioning Kobe Bryant's name when the discussion is about the greatest players to have ever played in the NBA, right? I mean, if it wasn't for Kobe, we would have never heard of or been familiar with what we know today as Mamba Mentality. Some of the milestones that he achieved during his glorious NBA career include 5 NBA championships, winning 3 out of those between 2000 and 2002, with fellow NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal, with whom he formed one of the deadliest duos in NBA history. He even won 2 NBA championships in 2009 and in 2010 after Shaq's exit. 18-time NBA All-Star. Kobe was selected to the NBA All-Star game 18 times. Which happens to be the second most in NBA history behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who we will talk about later in this video, and won 4 All-Star Game MVP awards in 2002, 2007, 2009, and in 2011. Along with the 5 NBA championships and being an 18-time NBA All-Star, Kobe bagged his lone NBA MVP award right in 2008 when he averaged 28.3 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.4 assists per game, right after guiding and leading the Lakers to 57-25 record. Bryant's 81-point game to this day remains the second highest point total in a single game in NBA history, second only to Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. And of course, with 2 Olympic gold medals to his name, along with 2 NBA Finals MVPs in 2009 and 2010, Bryant cemented himself as one of the greatest to ever do it. Larry Bird. Next up on this list is Larry Bird. Bird is widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players in NBA history. He was particularly known for his shooting, basketball IQ, and all-around game, which was unmatchable for his opponents every time he took onto the basketball court, and which were some of his insane achievements and records that make him a part of the greatest debate. Let's have a look. 3 NBA championships. Bird guided and led the Celtics to 3 NBA championships during his career in 1981, 1984, and 1986, and won the NBA MVP award in 3 consecutive seasons, something accomplished by only Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, by the way. In fact, from 1984 to 1986, Bird was the best player in the league, dominating in all areas, especially in passing, scoring, and even as a rebounder. Not to forget that Bird was also selected to the NBA All-Star Game a total of 12 times, between 1980, 1988, and then between 1990 and 1992, which consistently recognized him as one of the top players in the league throughout his illustrious NBA career. Bird is an all-time Celtics legend. And did you know that he spent all of his 13 years throughout his NBA career with the Celtics? He is widely regarded as the best player to ever don the Celtics jersey. Bird was the NBA Finals MVP on 2 separate occasions, once in 1984 and then 2 years later in 1986, having led the Celtics to victory in both series. And man, oh man, his confidence made him a force to reckon with. In fact, he is particularly known for winning the NBA three-point contest 3 times in a row, once in 1986, then again in 1987, and again in 1988. And to display how elite was his confidence, remember when in 1988, when he famously walked into the locker room and asked, "Which one of you guys is coming in second?" That shook the NBA world and made him one of the greats of the game. Magic Johnson. Next up on the greatest NBA players list is Magic Johnson. Now, if there is one guy in the history of the NBA who is solely responsible for revolutionizing the point guard position, it is Magic Johnson. He single-handedly led the Lakers to 5 championships in total and was an absolute beast on the basketball court. Could you guess how many assists per game he averaged during his career? 11.2 assists per game over his 13-year glorious career, which, just by the way, is the highest assist average in NBA history. Johnson recorded 138 career triple-doubles, which is the 3rd most in NBA history, only behind Russell Westbrook and Oscar Robertson. And not just in playmaking, Johnson was a beast in scoring as well, averaging 19.5 points per game, with his size, post-up game, and transition play prowess that not many other NBA players could ever match. Coming to some of the greatest records that Johnson holds, he happens to hold the record for most assists in a single playoff game, with 24 assists in a 1984 game against the Phoenix Suns. In addition to that, Magic also holds the record for most career assists in the playoffs, with 2,346 assists to his name. Magic won the NBA MVP award 3 times, in 1987, 1989, and 1990, recognizing him as the best player in the league. And he was also named the NBA Finals MVP 3 times, once in 1980, then in 1982, and then again in 1987. A feat that cemented his position as one of the greatest postseason performers in NBA history. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And how can we go on without mentioning the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on this list? I mean, if we missed his name, we would be at the receiving end of the wrath of not just NBA fans, but sports pundits, former players, and personalities all across the globe. So let's understand why Kareem is one of the greatest to have ever played the game. Number 1. Kareem was the NBA's all-time leading scorer for nearly 40 years, with 38,387 career points. That's right, 40 long years. But his scoring record stood only until LeBron James surpassed it in 2023. Number 2. Kareem's signature skyhook move is easily one of the most iconic and effective moves in basketball history. It was so lethal and practically unblockable due to his height of 7'2". His ability to shoot it with either hand, as well as the high release point, which no other player could ever really imitate. Number 3. Kareem won 6 NBA championships, 5 of which came with the Los Angeles Lakers and 1 with the Milwaukee Bucks in 1971. Kareem holds the record for being the only player in NBA history to win the NBA MVP award a record number of 6 times. And he was the best player in the league, not just during the 1970s, but also during the 80s. Number 4, his longevity and consistency are other major factors that make him sit up there as one of the greatest players of the game. Kareem played for 20 seasons from 1969 to 1989, which is an outstanding feat for any player, particularly at such a high level. Even in his late 30s, he played at the topmost level and stayed in his peak condition. And now finally coming to the two such players who have locked horns on the court, and yes, in debates as well, on a number of occasions, about who really is the greatest, LeBron James or Michael Jordan. Now, when you compare Michael Jordan with LeBron James in the GOAT debate, there are certain key statistics that you need to know and talk about to settle that debate. When you talk about the comparison on a per-game basis, Jordan is superior in the scoring department, but James does grab more rebounds and assists at a higher rate than Jordan. While both players are known for their impregnable defense on the wing, Jordan finished first in the league in steals 3 times in his career, while James has not yet claimed a steals title. Not to forget the fact that Jordan was the better scorer when it comes to scoring titles and having the highest career scoring average in NBA history, and also the better defender as he led the league in steals thrice. But many argue that James has been the better playmaker with 106 career regular season triple-doubles to Jordan's 28.7. I mean, you cannot argue about the fact that Michael Jordan's astonishing 6-0 NBA Finals record, which got him 6 Finals MVPs, indisputably makes him stand above LeBron James, right? Or is there even any arguing over it? If we compare all-around skills, let's take a look at LeBron first. There is no doubt that James is arguably the most complete player ever, with the ability to score, pass, rebound, and defend at a high level. Even the stats say that he is in the top 10 for all-time points, assists, and rebounds, which talks a lot about his versatility as a player. But when it comes to scoring ability, mixed with defensive prowess, Jordan takes it, doesn't he? I mean, there is a reason why Jordan is widely regarded as the best scorer in NBA history. He literally clinched 10 scoring titles and averaged 30.1 points per game over his career, which is the highest in NBA history. Not just as an offensive player, but also as a defensive player. He won the Defensive Player of the Year award in 1988 and made the All-Defensive First Team a total of 9 times. And not only that, it's really difficult to imagine any contemporary NBA player coming even close to Jordan's feat of leading 2 separate three-peats and maintaining a perfect finals record in the NBA. While Jordan has won 6 NBA championships, LeBron has won a total of 4 with separate teams, namely 2 for the Miami Heat, 1 for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and 1 for the Los Angeles Lakers. The reason why Jordan is often regarded as the GOAT by most people is because of his near-perfect finals record, scoring dominance, and ability to perform in clutch moments. This guy took the NBA to newer heights and was responsible for defining excellence in the NBA. For others, LeBron is the GOAT due to his longevity, versatility, and all-around game, which makes him come the closest to Jordan, and even for some, makes him greater than Jordan. But do you know where the answer truly lies? It ultimately depends on whether one gives more importance to championships and dominance, where Jordan prevails, or longevity, versatility, and an all-around game, where LeBron is the favorite. So we leave it up to you. Who do you think is the greatest of them all? Let us know in the comments section below.